So people want to know what what creates market crashes. What creates market crashes are bubbles, and bubbles pop often. Let me not say bubbles pop often. Um, Economics, a lot of people try to make, overcomplicate things. Certain things are just common sense. And to understand economics, the basic thing is that there's a cause and effect of everything. Somebody's not paying something, somebody has to pay for it. Everything has a cause and effect. And what economics is really understanding what those cause and effects are. You want to understand basics. What drives an economy? Economy is fueled by the gross income that economy makes. We call it GDP. So if you look at the economy, I want you to think of it like a company. How much growth or how much money does a particular economy produce? Right? The U.S. obviously is number one. We produce the most money out of any economy in the world. China happens to be number two. So we look at GDP as the measure of growth in which an economy has. So economy is either expanding or contracting, meaning that economy is either producing more money or it's producing less money. So how do we determine if economy is making money or expanding or contracting? Is really spending. So the more people that touch a dollar, the better the economy works. Somebody goes to a job, they get a check, they go buy their groceries. Okay, the groceries buy supplies from the farmer. The farmer use that to buy seeds to grow the plant. All right, the person that sells them the seeds, they buy the barn to house the seeds, and they pay their water bill. So this dollar, it circulates all around. The reason people feel comfortable spending is usually they're confident. What are they confident in? They're confident in that dollar is going to come back to them. Meaning that if I go to work, that I have a dollar coming in next week. If I know I have money coming in next week, I feel comfortable spending so that the economy, the dollar goes out in the world and touches and does what it needs to do. That's on a minimal scale if you understand that basic element. So when that person feels like that their income is not going to be there, or that person loses their stream of income, the money that they have stops spending, and then that money stops circulating. And if that money stops circulating, then those people that had those goods, they don't have the income they need to sell. So then they stop buying from the supermarket, and then the supermarket stops buying from the produce guy, the farm guy. The farm guy stops buying from the seed guy. The seed guy doesn't need as much water, and you see how things begin to slow down. The two drivers of the economy: one, confidence, all right, which allows money to circulate, and two, employment, which means that people actually are hired and have money in order to go out and purchase and buy things that keep the economy healthy and growing. So when you have low unemployment, you typically have an expanding economy. Economy does well. People are spending money. People can get a job, things are good. When unemployment is high, you see the opposite. So now you can kind of convolute things, or when you add credit. So credit or debt, depending on which side of the coin you're on, allows the economy to grow that much faster, because now you give the economy steroids. So that consumer that was spending their dollar, not only can they spend their dollar, they can borrow money and spend that dollar. Now that dollar. So if you take it, I'll go back to the example, all right? So that worker now, instead of buying a little bit of fruit, they can borrow money and buy a lot of bit of fruit. And then that produce guy can now take that lot of bit of money and borrow against it and buy a lot more from the farm, And then that farm guy can borrow money and buy a lot more seeds. So the credit, it magnifies or multiplies the speed and the velocity of growth. It gives more buying power to the marketplace, and it helps accelerate GDP. What we have in our society is we're very levered, meaning that we borrow to go to school, we borrow to drive a car, we borrow to buy a house. So because we're very highly levered, we normally in a normal society, in the first society I described without debt, if I can't pay anything, I just stop spending, which slows down the economy, but we don't get these bubbles and pops, right? Now, if you put debt into that equation, although it helps the economy to expand fast and rapidly and stuff like that, the other end of it is that when that person loses that stream of income and they can no longer service that debt, meaning they can no longer pay that debt, the swing and the cause and effects of it are a lot greater. And what we have right now is a society that's continuing to get more and more levered, meaning that they're depending more and more on debt in order to survive. All right. And you may look at like, well, I don't have any credit card debt. Yeah, but you finance your house, you finance your car, you financing your education, or you finance your education, you're still paying on it. So when your income stops, not only does the money you kick out into the market decline, but those big bills, they decline. They don't get paid. And those have significant effects on the economy. So to understand that portion, you now have to shift into, all right, banking. So when in the first model, if I don't have any debt and I can't buy any more fruit, I just don't have fruit anymore. In the second model, if I use debt and I add debt to the equation, if I can't pay that debt that I used to buy fruit, I could potentially lose a lot more than fruit, right? Because I'm personally guaranteeing that debt. So in essence, and this is in the Bible, you're a slave to your debtor. The debt now becomes the new slave.